right. Good morning, everyone. Give me a moment while I share the link. All right. So today I'm just going to do a quick Spider-Man head sketch, and then I will continue inking on this piece. I did a Morbius, and then a Black Knight, and the Hulk. But first I'm going to warm up with the Spider-Man. You may have heard of him. This is the Modern Masters book. It's all black and white, but it has 8 pages of color right in the middle. Where's that color? There we go. And then I usually do a little head sketch in each one. All right, let me try and move this a little bit. There we go. I'm trying out my new pencil I just got, made by Tombow, the monograph. I liked it because it's got a twistable eraser. I got this in my local art store, but they have them in jet pens. And then I drilled a little hole through it so I could put a magnet in there, just a tiny one, and then it can stick to my board. All right, time to draw some Spidey. This is just a quick little profile sketch. Just map it out first. Make sure his ear goes in the right spot, even though you can't see it. Back of his skull. He's got kind of a skinny neck, at least compared to the other superheroes I draw. Make it more of a Peter Parker nose. And then I do a profile, but I leave it so you can see the center. So that's the center line right there. So just a little bit of the other side. And then I bring the eyes up to about here. And I always give it that big lower lid, because I like it that way. Hi, Christian. Are you all caught up with remarks? No. I opened up the list again, so to people not on the email newsletter, so I got quite a few more to do. But I'm doing a couple every day, so I think I should be done in about a month, as opposed to the usual, which is like 4 months. I realize I need to start doing them at a faster pace, just because for tax purposes, like when I'm doing sales tax, it's from the middle of the year to the middle of the next year. And so it makes my life a lot easier if I can just get it all done that year when I'm supposed to, and not carry anything over. So that's one reason I only open the list after June 30th, because I want everything to go into that year. Although they did make it easier. So I'm in California, and they passed a law where if you are a marketplace facilitator, such as the one I use is Big Cartel, if you're a marketplace facilitator, I think you're now legally required to take care of the taxes for your sellers. So they're responsible, which makes things a lot easier for myself. But you do still have to, keep all the records and everything. It's just that the tax revenue, the sales tax, never actually reaches you, so you don't have to remit it at all. Which is it's been that way for a couple of years, but I think that new law went into effect only maybe last year. Guys probably don't want to hear me talk about taxes, but it can be a hassle just keeping track of everything. But they've made it about as easy as it possibly could be. I keep forgetting every year how to actually report it. Like I have to ask them each and every year, because there's they don't make it. There's not like an easy way. It's not built for marketplace facilitators. Basically, you have to find it hidden in this drop-down menu, and then it's not immediately clear how you go about reporting everything. Because if you type in all your revenue, all your numbers, then at the very end it'll say, hey, you owe this much, and it's like, well, I never got that money. So it's just one of those things, death and taxes. All right, that looks pretty good. I just got one of these. This is actually for holding, for painting when you want to hold some medium. But I just put some acrylic wash in there, and the other one just has water. And then I keep this at the top of my board now, and I've been a lot happier since I started doing that. I don't use it a whole lot, but it can be very convenient when you need it. And usually for the Spidey remarks, I grab a little bit, just a tiny bit of acrylic wash, just to make the Spidey sense go over the dark part. I don't have to do it, but I like to, so I do it. And that's all I need. Wash out my brush. Cap on tight for next time, and then I'll use my Pentel pocket brush pen. I can't remember where this one's going at the moment. I got like 3 Spidey and then one Hellboy. I did the Hellboy earlier today. But they're flying all over the place. One was going to Spain, Madrid, I think, which is always cool. And where's the other one going? I want to say like Alexandria, Virginia. And for these, I usually do a quick little grayscale with Copic markers. I just bought a bunch of refills. All these things are expensive. Do I have any other Modern Masters books? Yeah, I think I have the Mike Allred one. I have the Eric Powell one, and I think one other. I can't remember at the moment. Yeah, it's a really great series. I don't know if they do it anymore. Like I haven't seen one advertised as of late, so I just don't know. All right, and then I'll use I'm going to use the 0.7 Copic multiliner. SP has the aluminum body, which is great, with refillable ink cartridge. All done with that. And then I use the warm number 5 Copic sketch marker. And then I sign that puppy. Oh, nice, Owen. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the magnetic board is the way to go. My dad actually, he just went out and he bought just a dry erase board, like 18 by 24, and he uses that. And it works for the most part. One of the reasons I got the custom made one is it's fairly thick steel, so that when I put magnet on it, it is ultra strong. So I use this kind of like, it's an erector set. I use this as a shelf, so this will actually hold up a book. Like I can pull it down, but it's pretty tough. And then when I use these guys are insanely strong magnets. Just this part, this is a helping hand, in case I ever need to hold up reference. But these things, you can get them off Amazon. It's essentially like 6 magnets underneath there. And it'll hold up a phone or, whatever you need. Or open up a book, anything like that. All right, next one. I'll just keep on going here because I got a lot to do. This is Black Knight and the Hulk. So I'm going to finish up Black Knight and then do the Hulk, I think. And we'll call it a day. So, feel free to watch, drop in, drop out. Yeah. Morning. Thanks for watching. All right, so I'm going to use Pentel pocket brush. You guys can see Morbius. I already finished up there. This guy, he got, I think, 5 remarks on one. Oh God, I don't remember where I got the custom metal sheets from. It's been a long time, but if you just look up custom metal sheets, you'll be able to find it. I think it's like online metal something, but yeah, just there are plenty of places. But like I said, if you just get a fairly heavy duty 18 by 24 dry erase board, that usually does the trick. In fact, I just bought one for myself for like an 11 by 14, just for one that would fit into my backpack, and it works just fine. It's not super strong, but one of these magnets will hold a piece of paper to it. And I'll bring like my ultra strong magnet if I want to hold something bigger. Will this be for sale? No, this one's already purchased. It's kind of a wide range of characters here. So we got Morbius, we got Black Knight, we got the Hulk, and then up top it is Human Torch, Johnny, I'm assuming. Actually, you know what? I should double check, make sure it's Johnny. Always confusing with old school Marvel because there's two Human Torches. But most of the time you can assume they're talking about Johnny. And who's the fifth? Who's the fifth Beatle? I should double check because I should know. I'll probably do it later today. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Oh, Nighthawk. Nighthawk. Yeah. So this one's got some deep cuts. Black Knight. I had to. Well, he sent me reference. Black Knight is not someone I can draw from memory. Even Hulk. Like I still like looking either at other artists or even Hulks that I have done before, because unless I'm drawing a comic, like I do forget all the little details, and it's not even like costume details, because usually if they're comics, the costume details are simple enough. But even just like how I draw Hulk's eyes, his brow, like just the proportions, and I don't have like a set way, but there's usually certain things that carry through from drawing to drawing that I like. And I do forget those. All right, how am I going to do this? I kind of have to decide ahead of time. I mean, I did it in the pencils, but because this is not a character I normally draw, I don't have like a working solution. I'm going to do just kind of my best guess. Specifically, I'm talking about the way that the shadows, how I'm going to deal with those. Because I want it to look like he's wearing a helmet, but if you put too much shadow, you might lose some detail. Let me see. I don't even know what Black Knight looks like under there. I don't know what color hair he has or anything like that. He's not a character I know anything about. Like I said, these are some deep cuts. I drew him once, or painted him once. He shows up in Mythos Captain America from 2008. I did a big, Avengers double-page spread, which was a recreation of Avengers number 100, I believe. And so, like, I was never very familiar with that era. I asked my editor, Tom Brevoort, what would be a good fight to reference that had like a bunch of Avengers and just everybody in their classic, kind of like their most classic uniforms and costumes and whatnot. Marker brand? Well, this is a Pentel Pocket Brush, if that's what you're talking about. The markers that I'm planning on using are Copics. Although someone did just remind me on Instagram that these things are not light fast. The Copic markers, which I knew, I just had conveniently forgotten. I've even seen it myself. Because like when when I was very young, like 4 or 5 years old, my parents had an art supply store. And so all the artwork that I did back then, I would do it in like Sharpie and what were nice markers from the 80s, design markers. And so it was, really satisfying, like bright colors and everything. But now those things are over 30, 35 years old, and some of them have faded pretty bad. But as with everything, a lot of it just has to do with how it's stored. So if you're going to put something in direct sunlight, almost nothing's going to last. So if people do get these framed, just make sure it's on a wall that is not facing any direct sunlight. Like I just framed a couple pieces for my studio here, and if it's original art or art that I want to last, I have it facing me and away from the window. Like it's on the same wall where the window is, so the light never hits it. Like the light only comes through towards sunset, but still it's something I'm very aware of. Like when I'm doing a bunch of these and everything's kind of hanging up in the studio, I take everything down before sunset for that little window of like an hour or two. Hi, Wayne. Thanks for watching. It's getting there. I think I could make that all black, but I'll just do that with a marker. Hi, David. Yeah, I do the same thing. I got everything that I got today or this past weekend. It's all got the UV. It's not glass. It's acrylic, but it's the non-glare stuff. My mom was quick to remind me that not everybody likes that look because it's blurry from angles that are not straight on. So my mom was a professional framer for years when we had the store. So I kind of grew up not just with like art supplies, but also just absorbed a lot of framing techniques and stuff. Like I wasn't working at the store. I was too little, but it's just funny that like all that stuff I picked up, like because there's a lot of strange tools and braces and drills and all that kind of stuff. And she did all that. Yeah, I was just telling that to my 4-year-old son. He was helping me frame. Like, yeah, I used to play with these little springs. And of course, he wanted to do the same exact thing I wanted to do when I was 4. Just flick them all over the place and create a mess. Can't blame him. Sorry, I gotta move this so there's space for my hand. Maybe I'll move. There we go. These are just kind of abstract reflections in his helmet. Doesn't really matter all that much, but And then for the a little highlight, I'll use this one. Fudenosuke. Fudenosuke? I have no idea. I'm going to butcher it. But it's a nice little brush pen. It's waterproof. All right. Normally I'll let that dry for a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and darken this. Actually, I don't know if I'm going to do full color for this one. It's too dark. I'm going to use a 4. I might, on the Morbius piece, I actually used some watercolor. Because this paper I upgraded to the nice stuff, which is 100% cotton. I don't usually use that for the prints because it's just too expensive, but I've thought about using that as like an upgrade, but I don't know if people will pay for it. I guess it's, when I bought it, it was like $2 a sheet. It's probably like $4 a sheet now. All right, that's good enough for now. I'll worry about color later. I'm not gonna do that much right now. Let's move over to the Hulk. I gotta move my super strong magnet. And let's see. The glass is more expensive than the acrylic. Oh, that's good saving. Yeah, I don't even remember if they had that option for the glass. I thought about it, but I don't know. Maybe I'll try it on a small piece. Do I prefer the hard tip or the soft? Oh, for the Fudenosuke. God, I'm butchering it. Fudenosuke. Fudenosuke. I don't know where the accent goes. This is the, should say, doesn't it? Water base, black. God, I have no idea. Oh, here it is, soft tip. Yep, it's the soft tip. And how long do I normally wait for the ink to dry? I mean, it's dry to the touch in a minute or less, but I've had some issues every once in a while. It kind of depends on the color and like if you're using, like, because sometimes the alcohol markers can pick it up as opposed to watercolor. Watercolor usually doesn't unless it's like literally still drying. But sometimes the alcohol markers, even though it's dry to the touch, it'll still pick it up for whatever reason. I don't know what chemistry is going on. So I just usually give it 5 minutes. I kind of like, I let it sit there. I do something else and I come back. I don't even think about it, really. Oh, I need some water. All right, we'll do Hulk and then we'll call it a day. I still got lots to do, but yeah, lately I'm kind of all over the place. I just took on a bunch of remarks just because I wanted some easy work. I can just kind of sit, do a live stream, or listen to an audiobook or podcast or anything like that. Not have to think too much. I did some stupid stuff. I made my my t-shirt designs. I still have a couple more dumb t-shirt designs. Threadless has a program where you can actually work with, they work with licensors. So for certain properties like Army of Darkness or RoboCop, like, they gave me a whole big list of things, and I was like, oh, I actually would like to do some of those. So I'm going to do one assuming of course that they approve my design. If that sells well, then I'll think about doing more, because it's not really like, not a money making endeavor. I'm sure it could be if it, sells well, but just it's not how I it's not how I'm going to make a living. But at the same time, I do enjoy it, and I like the T-shirts myself, and that's basically like how I go about it. It's like, do I want to wear this T-shirt for myself? If the answer is yes, then I do it. So I did a Blade Runner. Uh, and these ones are totally unofficial. I'm definitely skirting the line of fair use, um, but they're also pretty. I guess not arcane references, but you really got to be a fan if you get the T-shirt. You have to really be a RoboCop fan. You really got to be an Aliens fan. The Aliens one I did. So there's a story. I have no idea if it's true at this point, but I've heard it, from several sources on the internet, where when James Cameron was pitching, the sequel to Alien, he just wrote Alien on the chalkboard or dry erase. I don't know what it was, whatever they were using back in the 80s, early 80s, and he wrote an S at the end and then put a line through it for a dollar sign. And by God, he did it. I have no idea if this is a true story or not. Apocryphal at best, but I do like to think of it happening that way, going down. I would love it even more if he bought the T-shirt and was spotted wearing it. Same thing for Harrison Ford. If he wants to buy one of my retired T-shirts, hell, I'll give it to him. But yeah, James Cameron, I always think of the cojones on that dude. Like, you basically, like, Aliens, like one of the best movies ever. The way I think of it is like, you just saw Citizen Kane, and you're like, ooh, I have a really good idea for Citizen Kane 2. And you've got to sell it, and you've got to make it. And you're able to not only convince, the studio, but also make a completely different movie that is somehow amazing as well. So that's kind of the story behind that T-shirt. I used the typeface from the very first movie, because that's kind of like the story behind all the T-shirts, is that they're all sequels, but they're mainly based off an idea from the first movie, even though they do have existing sequels. There's even a Terminator one I want to make, and there's a Predator one. It's all these Fox properties that now Disney owns. So I hope they don't hate me too much. Ooh, did you guys hear that? That was my belly. My wife and kids made some really good banana bread last night, so my tummy wants some. But yeah, not much. As far as my schedule goes, I don't have a ton. Well, I guess I have some. I'm trying to keep things light. I did take on one big painted project from a new client. I have no idea if it'll ever see the light of day, but I liked the people who were involved with it, so I said yes. You know, it's people I'd worked with before, so I think that's how a lot of these creative things work out. It's like you hire people, and those people have, you know, their own existing network, even if they're not necessarily at the company that they used to be with. You know, I know them personally, and always had a pleasant experience working with them. Yeah, I got that going, and then I'm trying to work out a deal with DC for more than one cover, because I do stuff for them, but it's always kind of piecemeal, and I'd like to do something on a more regular basis. So we're trying to work on something that fits within my schedule, because that's always the thing. It's like they'll ask me to do something, I'll say that's cool, but I don't have the time. So I'm just trying to work with them a little bit more closely to plan ahead, because that's kind of always my issue. Like if I can plan, then I can do anything. Not true, but close. Yeah, there's the Hulk. Now he's starting to look like it. I need to find a quicker way to do his hair. Oh, there's my belly again. And I'm also trying to save some time for some painted remarks when my Thundercats piece for Sideshow finally comes out. It's up for pre-order now from them, but I don't know when I'll be getting my artist proofs. But when I do, I'll be sure and put them up on my site, and I'll make sure that I open up the remark list again. I'm hoping that'll be in the fall. I don't know for sure though. Oh, I got a package. My phone is just a constant alarm. Oh crap, that's going on. I don't know where. I just got it. It's a package from DHL. Sometimes I'll get like comp copies, and I don't know where it's from. My favorite 80s cartoon character. Well, I mean, you know, I just spent a lot of time working on Thundercats. Um, yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, you know, I was a typical 80s little boy. You know, Transformers, Thundercats, GI Joe. I didn't stick with GI Joe as much as some of my other friends and colleagues. I still love all that stuff, but I just never, like, the love for it faded, I guess. You know, I still love seeing good art for it, and I love the old school. Oh God, I can't remember his name. It's Hector something. He's the one that did most of the toy artwork that, you know, like that came on the blister packs. I can't remember his name now. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. passed away in 2020. But he did, all of those, the GI Joe things that most people think of, where it's like an explosion in the back, and then like the toy, the central character in the middle. It was on like every single toy. I don't think he did them all, but he's the one that seems to have done the most popular and may have established the look. I don't know. And I don't know if it's Garrido or Harido, but apologies in advance. So yeah, I loved GI Joe. I was a huge Ghostbusters fan for a long time, and also, of course, Voltron. So I got my kids into Thundercats, and also like the new Voltron on Netflix. It's pretty amazing. Like I've seen quite a few episodes. I need to watch it in order because it's like 7 seasons, and it's a sprawling story. It's pretty epic. Um, and I'll be the first to say it's probably way better than the original. Like I still love Thundercats. Like when I was doing this most recent one, I actually watched a good portion of the first season, and a lot of it I just did not remember at all. And a lot of it's pretty crazy, but it's still enjoyable to watch. Uh, but I do remember watching like a classic Voltron. It's just not a lot of meat on the bone. It's good for what it is. But I just still love those lions. Yeah, I almost did a Voltron piece for Sideshow, um, but it fell through for whatever reason. I don't recall at this point. There have been a couple things at Sideshow that we like almost did, but didn't work for one reason or another. They're trying to get me to do one more piece right now, but I don't know. I just don't think I have it in me. Thundercats took way too long, and this one would be potentially. It's one of those things like I really want to do it, but I know it would just knock the wind out of me just to get it finished. Um, what I want to do for them is something simple for once, instead of like multi-figure. Something that is just one nice, simple image of a single character with a simple background. And, like, I'm happy to do it for less money. I just, it's just such an undertaking when I do the really super rendered paintings. I'm always happy when I'm done, but still, it's while I'm in the thick of it, I'm always cursing myself. Never them. I'm always just cursing myself for thinking I could do it in a halfway respectable amount of time. Especially Thundercats too, because it was the beginning of the process was super easy. Like I did one sketch and they're like, "Looks great, go for it." And I was like, "All right, I can do this." And I got in the thick of it, and everything just got more and more complicated. I think what I need to do is I need to simplify my reference, because right now I have too many sources, and I need to go for that kind of work. I just need to go back and suck it up to my old school, the way that I used to do things, which is I would dress up and I would do, basically my wacky reference. And it's kind of funny, but it gets the job done, and it's custom made, and it's exactly what you need. Whereas what I've kind of slipped into the last 5-10 years is like I just have all these models, and it works great for a face, but when you're putting it all together, it just, you either have the info or you don't. And I can pluck it out of the ether. It just takes a long time. Let's see. Greetings from Poland. Hi. I didn't realize Ghost Rider was there. Let's see in the saga. Oh, thank you, Marvin. Yeah, those are a couple pieces that I've been sitting on for a very long time. The Eric Talbot piece was from 2005. So I think that might be the very first piece of original art that I ever purchased. And I remember doing it because it was the first convention I had ever been to where it was dead. So, I had only been in the business. I graduated in 2003. I started working for Marvel, right around then. And I started doing my first. Oh, somebody's calling me. I'm going to screen that. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody's calling me. I'll deal with that later. But yeah, it was 2005, and I think it was in Boston. It was a Wizard show, and it was the first one I'd been to where the show was actually dead. And so I actually had some time. I wasn't like just drawing my butt off the whole time. And so I went around, and I think this is going back almost 20 years, but I think this is where I met Eric. And he had always worked on Turtles, as far as I know. And so I commissioned him, and he drew Krang smoking a cigar. It was great. I don't think I've purchased another piece of artwork for a long time after that. The 2007 Shredder is from Gabriele Dell'Otto, and that was a trade. He actually did it at, I think, New York Comic Con, 2007. I didn't finish his piece until about a year later, which is a Ghost Rider piece I did for him. Okay, I think that's done. Oh, hi. Hi from Brazil. Do you guys want to see me color Black Knight while I let the Hulk dry? I might as well. And then we'll call it quits. I'll use my kneaded eraser to kind of clean up. Uh-oh. Guys, give me a second. Someone's at the door. I'm like getting all these alerts. Hold on. All right. Let's see. What did I get? Oh, nice. Awesome. I got my comps in. This is from World's Finest Teen Titans 2. I should say they're real good about sending comps ahead of time. So Marvel, you get comps, but you don't get them for a while, like not until after it's published. But with DC, you get them ahead of time. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but just got it. And it's got the cardstock cover, which is nice. I've been loving those lately. Yeah, so I got, it's like they sent me three copies. Yeah. Yeah, this was a fun one. Good old Kid Flash taking the picture, posing for the picture, and making fun of Speedy. All right, so that was a nice little surprise. All right, now where was I? Yeah. So I'll wrap up. We're going to wrap up in less than 15 minutes, but I'll do color on this, and then that'll be that. Oh, and I should check and see what color his. Do you guys know? The reference the guy sent his brown eyes, so I'm going to double check. Marvel Black Night eye color. It says brown, so I'm going to go with it. All right, so it's yellow. You know what? I'm going to risk it. I'm going to do it in watercolor. I just got a new brush. This is the Silver Brush Black Velvet. I've got a bunch of these, but I just didn't have this size. And now that I look at it, wow, this was 19 bucks. Damn. No wonder that bill was so much. These things used to be a lot cheaper, but I guess they're $19 now. All right, so the trick is with this stuff, I'm going to use watercolor, but this paper is very thin. It's 100% cotton, but it's very thin, and so it buckles easily, and it will stay buckled if you are not careful. So I'm going to use very minimal water. Right now I'm getting my Payne's Gray all ready to go. This is going to be my first. This is my test strip. Always got it. Everything's a magnet, because that's who I am. So I'm keeping things very dry. There is water there, it's flowing, but it's basically dry to the touch as soon as I put it on. It's almost dry brush, but not quite. Right. Yep. Yeah, I think I might be doing this more from now on. I'll still keep the markers, but I just like the Copic markers. If you like markers, like Copic markers are great. I don't like markers that much because I'm always like, for me, there's a big difference between almost the right color and the right color, and that's how it always is with those things. Like, it's so close, but I can't modulate it the way I can with paint. You know, like even when I'm doing something like this where it's relatively simple color, you know, it's almost flat color. It's not actually a single, it's not a single hue, it's not a single brightness. I'll do like, you know, it'll look like flat color, but it's actually a very, very tiny gradient. So that's pretty good. I'll let that dry. I don't want to get too thick. And then I'll go over it again with a brighter blue, something like this, which I never know what it is. It's some kind of phthalo blue, kind of like a primary blue that's almost greenish in tint. Yeah. With my blues, actually all my colors, if I'm going to have like a pretty intense color, I actually like to do a few different pigments, and it really like kind of activates, makes it shimmer a little bit in the eye. Just makes it like a more interesting color, even though again it's just flat color. Comic book color, so to speak. A little bit of lemon yellow and then a lot of bit of yellow ochre. Get rid of excess water. This one's going to be tougher because I've got a lot of space. A lot of surface area to cover. But if you do it quickly, the secret to watercolor over large areas is to never leave anything that you don't want there in the end. Of course, it's easier said than done, but it just means don't, as you're going, don't leave any hard edges. Like everything kind of fades into white, like that. That way, if it does dry, it's not a big deal. You can come back and seamlessly connect it later. Yeah, I think I'll just do this from now on. I just find it much more enjoyable than the markers. I did the one Hulk piece. I posted it not too long ago. It was from last week. And like it looks okay, but I had the damnedest time trying to make it look just okay. I had to hit it multiple times with multiple greens just to make it look like an even, just to make it look like flat color. Because the alcohol marker picked up some, I guess it was pencil, some ink in some weird places, and then the marker was running out. Just like kind of everything that could have gone wrong did. Well, not everything, but a lot of things went wrong. I survived, after all. But it was just a hassle. And for a very simple drawing, what should have been a simple remark on white paper was just incredibly hard. So yeah, I think I'll just do this from now on. Maybe I should include an upgrade when you buy a remark. It includes the nice paper. Yeah. I wonder if I should do it on thicker. I'll have to look at some options because enough people buy the remarks where I think they'd be happier and I'd be happier to be working on the nicer stuff, even if it is $2 a sheet. Now it is starting to buckle a little bit, so I think I need to hold off. All right, what are we doing? You only do watercolors on better quality paper. Yeah, I mean, if it's something small, I'll do it on less. I mean, even all the prints that I do are on nice paper. It's just this is ultra nice, where it's 100% cotton. The other ones that I typically use are just regular paper pulp. It's acid free, and it's a nice smooth surface, but it's just not the same. You ever use some of the granulating watercolors for added texture? No, I've never tried those. I just use the regular watercolor. Are you talking about the paper or the watercolors themselves? Are you drawing with the paper at an angle? Yeah, this is at an angle. So up and down, straight up and down is that. So it's about 30 degrees that way, off the normal. And watercolor upgrade with the paper. Yeah, I'll look into that. I'll kind of see how much it costs now because I only have like a few more pieces left because I used to do all my prints on that and it just got too expensive. The stuff I use for most prints is like, it's anywhere between 25 cents a sheet to 50 cents a sheet, which is, pretty good. But it's a big jump up to $3 a sheet. All right. And of course, the Epson inks are pretty expensive, but it's worth it. I get the pigment-based ones as opposed to dye-based, which is that's the whole problem with the alcohol markers, is they're dye-based. Be careful, Paolo, this is getting kind of wrinkly. So this is what you're seeing here, like the buckling of the paper. That's why alcohol markers are good, because you don't get it because it dries so quickly. But I'm hoping it'll go back down a little bit. Like I said, keep things dry. And then we're almost done. So if you have any other questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. Happy Monday. Yeah, using too much water. I'll let that dry, and I'll tack it later. That's one reason my favorite stuff to work on is like the illustration board, because you don't even have to tape it down. But it's also just thick enough that it'll fit through my Epson P400 printer, which is the best. But if you're ever trying to transfer a drawing to thicker paper that can't fit through a printer, I recommend printing it through your printer onto essentially sticker backing. I don't know what makes it slippery, but you know, the stuff that you peel off from a sticker, if you can find paper like that, and I have a lot of scraps, you can use that. You can print on it backwards and then put it onto the illustration board and rub it in, and it transfers very easily. You can do the same with like acetate, but I found that the sticker backing works even better than that technique. I don't use it a whole lot, but every once in a while it's really useful. All right, I'm going to leave it there because I need to let it dry. A lot of water and water can make it chaotic. Yeah, Anibal, I don't know how to say your name. I like that sometimes, I do, but for this kind of stuff, yeah, I keep it pretty dry. What watercolor brands do I recommend? I'm mostly Holbein, but I do usually have Payne's Gray in M.Graham. But yeah, most of my stuff is Holbein. I do have some Winsor Newton from back in the day, but this is generally what I use. Same for all my gouache. I keep it on the same palette. So watercolor up here, gouache down here, and a couple, basically my purples and greens that I never use. I keep them down here in watercolor. Heavier boards painted on Bristol buckles too much. Yeah, so Noble Indigo, you should try Strathmore mixed media board. That stuff's real thick, and it doesn't buckle at all. And it's 100% cotton. And yes, yeah, everything's a magnet. This whole thing, it's all metal. Yep. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, as always. I will probably post these once they're all done. Like I said, I've got these 3 down here, and then up top, there's a Human Torch and a Nighthawk. So this guy got 5 remarks, quite a bit. All right. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, keep both mediums on the same palette. Metal. Yep. That's all metal. Anything else? All right. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.